I woke up yesterday feeling odd and itchy. My skin was so itchy I lay in bed for 30 minutes, scratching violently until I bled. I rushed to the bathroom to look at my skin and saw it was almost bluish all over. I hopped in the shower, which provided some relief. I thought maybe I had a rash or something, but I was itchy everywhere. Maybe I had spread it while scratching. I don't know. I got out of the shower, got dressed, and went to the store to get some ointment. I bought multiple kinds of lotions and practically lathered myself in them. I started looking up my condition and figured it was dry skin or eczema or something. It also mentioned bug bites, which sort of made sense because I have been spending a lot of time outside lately. Then I remembered the bug bite on my ankle. My girlfriend, who was away visiting family, and I have been picking random cemeteries around town and driving to them. The cemeteries are kind of just a direction for us to drive, and we try to find fun places along the way: thrift stores, dive bars, trails, and anything else that catches our eye. We made it to a new cemetery the other day in rural Kansas. This cemetery looked abandoned. Okay, maybe not the best way to describe it, but it was not well kept at all. The grass was overgrown, about as high as my waist in some places, and all the tombstones were dirty and weathered. We walked around looking at each grave, and they were all from the early to mid-1900s. We found one grave that was well kept, which I thought was sweet. While walking around, I got a painful bite on my ankle that made my knees buckle for a second. I figured it was a big mosquito, but before I got a chance to look at it, an old man with long, greasy hair came running from the other side of the graveyard, yelling, "Get off the grass, you idiots!" He spooked us, and we both just ran, laughing. I had completely forgotten about the bite until now. I lifted my ankle to look at it and saw two very large bites with a bit of pus oozing out of them. I thought it was weird because I only remember feeling one bite, but since that bite hurt so bad, I started to think this was the root of my itching. What kind of bug could do this? I looked it up and found it could be an allergic reaction. It said it could be life-threatening, but you know how it is when you look up your symptoms. Hey Google, I have a headache. Oh, that is unfortunate. You do indeed have a brain tumor. So I kind of shook it off and hoped it was mild. Besides, the only condition I had was itching. I did not have red or swollen skin or a rash, so I was hoping for the best. I stayed at home all day, moving as little as possible. It was almost bearable if I stayed completely still. I continued to scratch, mostly gently but sometimes violently, making myself bleed a couple of times. Even my face was itchy, especially near my mouth. I zoned out and scratched the same spot at the corner of my mouth for, I think, an hour before I felt a sharp pain. I went to the mirror and the corner of my mouth was bleeding profusely, blood pouring out. I tried to stop the bleeding, but the blood just soaked through the towel. I got in the shower again and the water burned my mouth, but I just let the blood drip into the tub. I stared at the shower floor for far too long as the steady stream of blood faded into the drain. I got out and went back to the mirror and was horrified. The corner of my mouth was ripped open into my cheek. I had scratched so hard that I gashed my mouth open. I was disturbed, hurting, itchy, and truly losing my mind at this point. I was in so much pain. I knew I needed to go to the hospital, but I didn't have the energy or the insurance to do so. I told myself to sleep and that I would go tomorrow. I took some of my girlfriend's sleeping meds and collapsed into bed. I think I fell asleep almost immediately. I was drained. Today I woke up and I wish I hadn't. My skin was no longer itchy, and I was beyond relieved. I lay there in absolute comfort, rubbing my skin gently. I put my hand to my mouth to see how my cut was doing, only to find no cut on my skin. I frantically felt all over my face, checking both sides of my mouth, but I felt nothing. I sat up in bed, and when I did, my foot touched something at the end of the bed. It almost felt like a grocery bag. I flipped over the blanket and saw a huge pile of something. It almost looked like the skin of an onion. I was confused, quickly trying to think of what it could be. I felt my heart racing as I slowly leaned closer and closer until my eyes widened and I lunged backward, tumbling off the bed. I think it's a pile of skin, human skin. My skin. I'm scared and don't know what to do. If anyone has any insight or ideas, they would be much appreciated, only to find no cut on my skin. I frantically felt all over my face, checking both sides of my mouth, but I felt nothing. I sat up in bed, and when I did, my foot touched something at the end of the bed. It almost felt like a grocery bag. I flipped over the blanket and saw a huge pile of something. It almost looked like the skin of an onion. I was confused, quickly trying to think of what it could be. I felt my heart racing as I slowly leaned closer and closer until my eyes widened and I lunged backward, tumbling off the bed. I think it's a pile of skin. Human skin. My skin. I am scared and don't know what to do. If anyone has any insight or ideas, they would be much appreciated.